Shields up, Paladins, and welcome to an Overwatch Hero Guide. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'll be talking to you all about Sigma and how I like to use this particular character. Sigma is one of the many tank roles within Overwatch. He has 300 health and 100 shields. With all this being said, let's go ahead and jump right on over to his abilities. The first thing I'm going to talk about is his actual weapon. His weapon is called the Hyperspheres. The type is a splash projectile. The damage is 2 charges per shot, each doing 60 direct damage, 10.5 to 35 splash damage, and 2.625 to 8.75 self damage. The projectile speed is 60 meters per second. The max range is 20 meters. Area of effect is a 3 meter explosion radius. The rate of fire is 2 charges per 1.5 seconds with a 0.15 seconds in between charges. You have unlimited ammo with his particular primary weapon, and you cannot receive headshots. One of the things that I would like to say before continuing is treat these like a whole bunch of bouncy balls. You're able to bounce his particular primary weapon off of walls, floors, and ceilings, which will help you get either behind shields or someone that is sitting behind cover, trying to wait for a healer or wait for a health pack to get back up. His first ability that he has is called the Experimental Barrier. With health on this shield is 1,500 shields. Healing regenerates 175 shields per second after being down for 2 seconds. The projectile speed is 16.5 meters per second. The max range is infinite. The area of effect is a 4.5 meter height, 5 meters width at the poles, curves to a 7 meter in the middle. Casting time is 0.2 seconds and duration is until destroyed or cancelled. Cooldown is 5 seconds if destroyed. So one of the things that I did say is that the max range is infinite on this. The only thing you have to worry about is that the walls will block the barrier's path if the center of the barrier is blocked. The barrier will coast along the ground if the angle down is 45 degrees or lower. So kind of keep that in mind. The barrier is also automatically removed upon Sigma's death. His next ability that he has is called Kinetic Grasp. Health is 40% of the damage absorbed is converted to temporary shields. Max is 400 shields. The duration is 2 seconds and cooldown is 13 seconds. So after 3 seconds, the shield starts to decay at 7 shields per second. Negates incoming projectiles from the front and sides, including ultimate abilities such as Graviton Surge, Blizzard, and Dragon Strike, which is just the arrow, not the actual dragon. It blocks Chain Hook and Whip Shot. Some abilities are assigned value due to their unorthodox nature. For example, Biotic Orb is credited as 100 damage, which is converted to 40 shields. Also, this is considered for the healing Biotic Orb as well. This ability can also be cancelled into Astration. However, because the shields are gained at the very end, no shield will be gained if Kinetic Grasp is cancelled early.
No, that wasn't right at all.
The next ability that he has is called Astration, or as I like to call it, throw a big boulder at your enemy. The type is a splash damage. The damage is 80 damage direct damage, 15 to 50 splash damage, and 7.5 to 25 self damage. The movement speed is negative 75%. Projectile speed is 37.5 meters per second. The max range is 4 meters knockback direct, 1 to 2 meters knockback, which is if it's a splash damage, and 2 meters knockback if it's self damage. Area effect is 2.5 meter explosion radius. Casting time is 0.8 seconds. Duration is 0.5 to 3 seconds knockdown, and you do have a 10-second cooldown. I like to use this ability specifically for people that are going into their ultimates, such as Reaper, Soldier, McCree, even a Fada for that matter. As soon as you hit them with this particular particular rock, it will knock them down, and it also will knock them out of their ultimate. So do keep this in mind. It does work for some enemies that I found out, but not for all. And finally, let's go in right into his ultimate ability, which is called Gravatic Flux. So the type is an area of effect. You have a 50 damage just on the lift itself, but on the slam, you have a 50% max HP. Max range is 35 meters. Area effect is a 7 meter radius. Casting time is 1.3 seconds. Duration, you have up to 5 seconds to select the area and a 2-second lift. Ultimate cost is 2,170 points. So Sigma passively generates 1 ult charge for every 4.34 seconds. It allows Sigma to fly during the duration of the ultimate from the area selection to the casting to the lift and the suspension to the slam. The ultimate can be interrupted through stuns and hacks, but only during the area selection period. Like Meteor Strike, the area selected is visible to the enemy. Enemies entering the target area after the lifting or after the lift will not be affected. You can pick people. You cannot. I'm sorry. This does not affect deployed objects such as turrets, but this will pick up Bastion and Sentry mode. There are ways to get out of his ultimate simply by using Moira's Fade or Reaper's Wraith form. If a Mei or an Orisa uses Fortify or Cryo Freeze, they will fall down and no damage is inflicted to them. The slam deals 50% of the max HP, which is increased by temporary HP gained from abilities such as Rally. The lift can be damage boosted, but not the slam. Sigma can also fire his weapon and recall his barrier during this time. So now, with all this being said, let's talk about a little bit of the strategy on how I like to use Sigma. Now, Sigma, in my personal experience, he's great for both constant offensive and defensive abilities, or consistent rather. However, he has a lot of lengthy cooldowns which require you to think ahead rather than freely using his abilities. While he is capable of high damage outputs, he is also the most useful when fighting at a distance with Ascension and his Hyper Spears, which while making openings and defending his team with his versatile experimental barrier, quick thinking, and superb situational awareness is needed when using Kinetic Grasp to protect himself and his team. This is great to use if you know there's a Bastion and a chokehold. You go ahead and use your Kinetic Grasp, approach him, excuse me, while it gives your team behind you to go ahead and take care of that situation. That's pretty much one of the things that I would say that I would watch out for with Sigma, is that his abilities seem to give him a lot of damage output, so it gives the perception of that you can overextend with Sigma, and that is definitely not the case. If I wanted to put it into an MMO style talking, I would consider Sigma to be the off tank instead of the main tank. The reason why I would say he's the off tank is just because I would say he's better suited to be not necessarily behind the team, but he's better suited to be at a distance rather than be up in your face personal like how Reinhardt would be. Reinhardt, in this case, I would consider him to be the main tank, with Sigma considered to be the off tank, so he can also help provide shield for Reinhardt whenever his shield goes down. Also help keep him up, or let his shield just simply recharge. If you do overextend as Sigma, pretty much just go ahead and accept your fate. You're probably going to die. Most likely you will. Because people will be able to rush you, and there's not much you can do about it simply with how quick you can fire your weapon. There's a lot of times that I've been out damaged by simply a Reaper that wanted to... I was overextended, and the Reaper saw that and took advantage of that situation. And there was nothing I could do about it in that particular sense. So that's something that I would consider, is don't play so overextended that you kind of leave your team hanging. Do kind of stay with your team as much as possible. Play at a distance. Use that 20 meters to your advantage with your hyperspheres and try to knock down enemies with your big boulder attack that you do have. That's a lot of the things that I would say. Also, if you do have a Reinhardt or another diva or any other tank rather, try to play with them as much as you can. Reinhardts and Orissas are great teammates for Sigma. Just to kind of to throw that out there as well. So hopefully I answered a lot of questions, comments, concerns. Hopefully I answered a lot of how to play as Sigma. If you did like this video, please drop a like, and I will see you all within the next video. Thank you all, and hopefully you all have an amazing day.